Please welcome now to Live from Studio 6B, the editor-in-chief and, of course, founder of Just the News, and, of course, the great 6 o'clock show with Amanda Head right here on Real America's Voice, Just the News, No Noise. The editor-in-chief, one of my favorite people in the world, Mr. John Solomon. Mr. Solomon, how are you?
Hey, guys, how are you? Good to be with you. All right. Better day for me than Joe Biden,
good.
I would say.
I mean, I'll tell you, John, I was just absolutely stunned. When we were getting ready to come live, and Harry comes over to me right before we go on air and says, "You're going to go right to Biden." I'm thinking, did he die? What is going on? What do you mean I'm going right to Biden? I'm thinking on a day like today with this report coming out, take me behind the scenes, first of all. I'll go in just kind of a strange order of questions here, but what is the decision-making that goes on at the White House that says, let's throw this dementia-riddled, crippled old man out in front of the cameras as people are just digesting this report? Let's send him out there to try to defend himself and be quick on his feet. What do you think the decision-making was here?
It was a Joe Biden decision. He was angry. He wanted to go out and try to rebut what Robert Hur said. In so doing, he only affirmed what Robert Hur said. He had memory lapses right in the middle of the news conference that proved exactly what Robert Hur had just said. And I'm a student of history. This press conference tonight is so closely reminiscent of the Richard Nixon 1973 press conference at the Associated Press Managing Editors, where he said, "I'm not a crook." Another time where Richard Nixon probably should have been quiet. I think Joe Biden had his "I'm not a crook" moment. I'm not demented, but I can't remember the name of the Rosie. I got the wrong name of the Mexican Egyptian leader. He just blundered, and he literally fulfilled exactly what Robert Hur was warning in the report, that this is a president which the government, in its own words, said today, has diminished faculties. Think about that. The United States Justice Department under Joe Biden said our current president has diminished faculties. That should concern all of us. The news conference only affirmed what Robert Hur said, and it was directly driven by Joe Biden's anger and his confidence. I don't think he knows how diminished he really is.
I mean, it was just total vibes of James Comey when I heard this report that he's too cognitively impaired to be charged, but he's cognitively okay to be the president of the United States, the leader of the free world, making decisions for 330 million citizens for what's going on around the world. I mean, how does that work? And then you have his attorney. Now we know why they were so, we heard all week. They were nervous about this report because they thought the pictures in it might show that these documents laying under the left wheel of his stupid Corvette or whatever. But they knew that there was a lot more to be concerned with the special counsel's description of this man. Yeah. Do you think the Department of Justice should release that full, or Congress should demand a release of that full transcript of that sit-down interview?
I think so, and I think you will see it in the next few days, those requests coming up, maybe as early as tonight. I know Congresswoman Claudia Tenney, others are working on similar things. And I want to point to one piece of evidence in this report that I think is going to live on in the form of the impeachment inquiry. If you go through the roster of documents, of classified documents that Joe Biden willfully took and kept, and in some cases shared with his book ghostwriter, even though that book ghostwriter didn't have a security clearance, two of them are from December of 2015 from Ukraine. Why is that important? December 2015 is the month that Joe Biden used his power, changed U.S. policy to force the firing of the Ukrainian prosecutor who was investigating his son's company, Burisma. We now know that Joe Biden, contrary to what he told us during the 2020 election, it was a change in policy when he decided to withhold the $1 billion and fire the prosecutor, something the State Department had recommended the opposite of doing. But it's that very month, and what does Joe Biden have in his collection of secret and top secret documents? Two documents from his communications with the Prime Minister of Ukraine during that pressure campaign. I guarantee you that's going to become a big issue for Jim Jordan, James Comer, the impeachment inquiry in the next couple of days. So this document is going to live on politically. It's going to raise the specter of an incapacitated president. It's going to live on legally because Donald Trump's going to be able to go to his judge now and say, I got treated entirely different. In fact, I didn't even share documents and I got charged. He shared documents. He doesn't get charged. That's going to leave on legally. It's also going to linger on in the impeachment process. I believe those Ukrainian documents and the entire transcript of the president are going to become evidence in the impeachment inquiry.
Got a couple minutes left here, John. I'll tell you, after tonight, and looking at the border issue that is such a winning issue for us, so easily understandable by the American people. Biden's dementia, easily understandable by the American people. It is indefensible at this point for the Republicans not to have a budget shutdown now versus this guy, Joe Biden. It's indefensible for them not to have a budget shutdown on what are 90-10 issues in our favor, being the border and being Biden's health.
Yeah, don't underestimate the Republicans' ability to rescue defeat from the jaws of victory. They're capable of doing it. They've been doing it. I want to turn to something that just broke a few minutes ago on Just the News, because I think it's very related to what we're talking about. We just got the first pseudonym emails from the National Archives. We got them under threat of lawsuit, actually, as a result of a lawsuit with the Southeastern Legal Foundation representing us. It absolutely confirms that Joe Biden used his private email in violation of federal regulation to conduct official business, and many times while working on White House issues, he brought in his two sons, Beau and Hunter, and his brother James. Those are the guys that were out there shaking the money tree, at least Hunter and James were, and they're being brought into White House issues. The first 60 emails out of 82,000 pages we got tonight, we just made them public. Joe Biden had a disregard for the classified secrets of this nation. He had a disregard for the rules of how he should conduct business as the vice president. Those documents just came out a few minutes ago.